the fire back on the scene. And I got the Marines, you're about to get clean. Tierra del Fuego, that's your base on the screen. Ain't no messing around when it's Titanos for ring.
Alrighty guys, what's up? My name is Doc Holiday. It looks like we're just waiting on cRoSs for a minute here, so if you wouldn't mind, let me just holla at you for a second, guys. So we do have a couple of different ways that you can support NASL. Of course, there is direct donations via Matcherino. We always really appreciate those guys, and for those of you who can afford to go out and reach into your wallets and help us out a little bit with the prize pool money and stuff like that, we really always appreciate it. Thank you so much to everybody out there. Really appreciate that. But there is also free ways to contribute. You can check out the Matcherino page. And on that page you can find a sponsor quest, which is a short survey about, I believe cRoSs was saying, is about energy drinks. That'll allow you to donate $2 to the prize pool completely for free. And of course you can always use the NASL 3 coupon code as well. I believe it's NASL. Rudger will be certainly the one to ask, but using the coupon code will also allow you to make a small contribution completely for free. So we really appreciate that, guys. But I hope you guys are having a good weekend starting out here. Looks like we have a lot of cRoSs fans in the chat, man. cRoSs's a pretty good guy. I think part of that is, I mean, are very many people out there familiar with who BoA is? I haven't really seen him around except for this season. I guess he is, he had his brother Red Duck, aka what was it, KMD, I think is the name? Is his brother or something like that? But yeah, I haven't seen too much of BoA, so you know, I could definitely see that being the case, why he doesn't have too many fans out there yet in the crowd. It's been kind of a funny season so far. It's been every matchup has been versus Zerg. Lots of Zerg players in the 4 and 2nd. Literally just Gypsy as the sole Terran here. We need more Terrans in the scene, man. I'm not gonna lie, especially now that Nyoken's in Korea. Father, not quite good enough to make it to these premier level tournaments quite yet, but he's getting there. He's working on it. He's learning. But yeah, man, I'd like to see more racial diversity. I really want to see more Terrans, to be honest.
All right, I'm back.
What's up, back? I'm Doc Holiday. Haha. Got him, guys. You guys see that? I got him. cRoSs.
I got owned.
Yeah, you're a goner, cRoSs. Out of here. You're over.
Alright, looks like you said we had a bunch of cRoSs fans in the chat. It might just be him and his family probably PM'd. Come and support me here on my big day.
You ever see that video? It's like this Indian guy who's like running for Congress or something for his district, and they're like, I only got 6 votes and there's 9 people in my family. Oh man.
Pretty much. One thing, BoA, not as well known, I guess, to current players, but BoA is a player who, before Remastered, I would say maybe 2 years before Remastered, he was tearing up the fish ladder and he was around B rank, which is several tiers above what any foreigner was at that point. Like even Bonif, True Tachian were well below that. So BoA, not sure if he's at that current shape now. If he is, of course, foreigners have gotten better since that time. I think the gap has closed a bit. But if he's at that level, I think BoA's a real threat in this tournament to possibly even win it all.
Yeah, B rank on fish is pretty insane. That was like, I mean, who else has really ever made it up there?
I think no one, at least in the current system. I mean, in the old system. In the current one, it was easier to get up there, but I'm saying current, like it's actually active now. But the last system that was in place before Remastered, it was easier to get B rank. I'm not talking about then, even before then. I think most foreigners were like D, and some were touching C. But a significant gap between the two. So I'm excited to see what kind of level BoA has. He did beat cRoSs already in the qualifiers. That was a game on match point where he got that DT in. So let's just jump right in.
Dude, that day was That day was brutal for Zorgs. It was just like single DTs ending their hopes and dreams all day. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. In the top right-hand corner, spawning as the blue Protoss, we have the man we were just talking about, BoA, representing Team White.
And in the bottom left corner, representing Team Soul, we have Zol, cRoSs as the white Zerg. When did he join Soul? I'm not actually sure, but...
Dude, what's up with foreign clans, though? I always thought, like, clan leaders were, like, supposed to be, like, the best players, but it's just, like, they're, like, administrators, right? Like, so all the best players are just players. But the clans are typically led by someone who isn't quite as good at the game. The only reason why I say this is because Fujikura, I remember you talking all that shit before a CPL game, buddy. And what happened there? What happened, man?
Honestly, I think it's just being a manager. It's its own thing. And
yeah, completely
no one
separate skill set. It's just funny. I don't know, cause you know, like when I played like Counter-Strike amateur, it was like always the best player ran the clan. But really, it's like it's a completely different thing to manage the talent. Like Age, certainly not the best player in IRK, still an excellent manager. Fujikura, same thing, excellent manager, not the best player by far.
Yeah, you could also say it's the same thing for Dragon. Dragon definitely probably tier 3 or 4 in NAS, and he's a manager there too. If we were going by skill, then at least Sugo would be the manager, if not Eon, one of those two. Alright, we have one gate from BoA and cRoSs going for 9 full speed, a build we haven't seen that much of in this matchup. Now, I'm a bit worried for BoA. The only good thing is he's going to scout cRoSs second and not last, because one gate has a very difficult time holding off 9 full speed, especially when your wall is going to have 3 gaps like this one. In his favor is the second scout, and the fact that it's cross mapped, so he's going to have just like a little bit more time from the rally lings. So cRoSs is going to make 6 things right off the bat, and he's joining up. So this is different. Because if he were to non-stop produce lings, which is what you would do if you scouted gate first, BoA would be having a little bit of a tough time. We have the probe getting in. It's going to see that it's a 9 full speed. Lings are already rallied across the map. BoA instantly throws on that forge. This is the appropriate response. He's still going to have to deal with lings possibly getting in. With good micro, cRoSs can force BoA to come pull off the wall. Alright. Very good probe positioning. Like, he can't actually target this probe because it's hidden under the gateway. Oh, unfortunately, he moves out and gets his first solid surrounded. Yeah,
that's a big deal here. Unfortunately, these lings with speed are potentially going to stay alive for forever now. cRoSs and has fantastic mechanics, fantastic micro, really quick hands as well. So he likely is going to have the multitask to keep these alive for a really long time and cause massive disruptions in BoA's build order here. We have 2 more Zerglings just able to run up into the main for free because the holes in the wall have not been plugged yet. So now we've gone from a pretty huge threat to a catastrophic threat in the main.
Yeah, BoA respecting that and making a second cannon in the main before even his nexus at the net. So even though cRoSs' economy is going to take a huge hit going for 9 full speed, he's doing a lot to BoA as well to slow him down. He's going to trade these lings off now that the cannon is done and the lings lose a bit of value. You don't really have a reason to keep the lings alive. And he's going to transition probably into Triage Hydra from this.
Now, I really like what BoA is doing here. He sent his 2 zealots and a probe across the map here. Now, obviously, cRoSs has made a couple of lings here, but 2 zealots should be enough to deal with this amount of lings, especially with the support from the probe here. And this is just going to force cRoSs to slow down his hyper droning that he was going to go into in a minute here.
Yep, that probe coming in clutch, making those zealots 2-shot the lings instead of 3. Yep. Now he's going to position the zealot behind the mineral line. Oh, actually there's another zealot coming in.
2 more, in fact.
forcing cRoSs to make even more lanes.
Yeah, this is a lot of Zealot pressure here. And, you know, cRoSs was only down 2 drones at the start of this, but likely having being made to continue to produce additional lings and additional lings, BoA should be able to find his way back into a sizable probe lead, which is going to then allow him to get his second Nexus up in time to kind of keep up with cRoSs in the worker lead.
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
Hatchery is actually dangerously low.
No, it's dead.
And he's gonna give it up.
Oh my gosh.
How did this happen? What happened?
This is terrible. You know, just losing this hatchery is a massive, massive blow to cRoSs just in general. And now that BoA is able to even up the worker count here, there's essentially no disadvantage in this situation at all for cRoSs to try and exploit to get himself back in this game. This is 100% all BoA favored right now.
Yeah, cRoSs, this is gonna look a little bit like just last game against the T1. We're gonna have a 2H Muta, but this is not what cRoSs' game plan was at all.
Yeah, the one thing that he has going for him is he does have the layer up before the cybernetics core has finished, so he's going to have pretty relatively fast, you know, Mutalisks in comparison to the Corsair timing. It's not going to be, they're not going to be out so fast that there's not going to be any anti-air or anything like that, but certainly he's going to start with a little bit of advantage here and give him additional time to snipe out Corsairs with some of the Scourge before the Corsairs get into large enough numbers where they're able to just push the Mutas out of base.
Yep. We do have the second gas, so this is going to be a little bit more committed than what Yaja's build was. And BoA, I mean, BoA should just really play it safe from here, knowing that his advantage is large, and not to take any risk to lose to some kind of all-in. Second cannon going up. He already has one in the main from the earlier lings. And, I mean, he's still, actually, cRoSs still is going to have opportunity to get some damage done with these mutas. The Nat has no pylon in place to provide defensive cannons. So that should be his target. We have a considerable amount of lings left over. And the first 6 mutas are being produced. cRoSs still mining from his second gas, so it looks like he's going to commit. Although he does only have 2 on gas there.
Ooh, the first Corsair going for an Overlord. This is not the play here. We don't, luckily for BoA, there is no Scourge on the map yet, so this Corsair very likely going to be able to run back to the 2 cannons at the natural expansion and save its own life. There are 5 mutas on the field right here, but mutas do take a little while to kill a Corsair.
Third cannon going up, but like I said, these cannons aren't in position to defend this middle line at all.
Yep.
So with good micro, he's going to be able to force mining, these probes from mining.
Already we have a big amount of probes going down here, and they're going to continue to fall. Oh no!
Flying over all the cannons. cRoSs, what are you doing?
2 free mutas, unfortunately, for cRoSs, and now that he's down to 4 in the main pack as well, that's just going to be 2-shotting. And so his probe harassment going to take much longer to do any damage.
I mean, he lost how many mutas? He had 6. He already lost 2 to fighting the courses, and then 2 being rallied. So a bit tragic.
Ooh, but we do get a snipe on one of the Corsairs here. Oh, and this is big! Alrighty. Well, one Corsair comes in here to just push off the remainder of the Mutalisks, but so far the Protoss has really not been able to establish a huge anti-air lead, so it's going to take quite a while until until BoA is able to move out on the map without, you know, having a large kind of critical mass of those Corsairs built up. In the meantime, it looks like cRoSs is just resecuring his 3rd right now, which is of course, just quite tragic because we should be getting our 4th and 5th up currently. But everything has been slowed down quite significantly by the Zealot pressure in the early portion of the game. cRoSs continuing to produce Mutalisks as well, because he's essentially stuck on this path right now, being forced to continue to produce Mutalisks because there's no real good minerally efficient unit that you can use other than the Mutalisks right now to continue to create pressure and do the kinds of things like the Mutalisks are able to do, like maintain map control and stuff like that. So for now, Mutalisks are kind of just the only thing that he can do to make sure that he accomplishes all the things that he needs to be doing while he establishes his bases. And this is kind of what I was talking about here. The Mutalisks are literally the only unit that's going to be able to fight these Zealots with a reasonable amount of mineral efficiency, and he needs to make sure that he's optimizing specifically the minerals, because he does need to spend as much as he can on droning. What the
Scourge? What happened there?
I think he just killed one of his own Mutalisks with the Scourge with a attack move that he accidentally clicked or something? I have no idea, but something really fucky just happened here.
Alright, we have BoA retreating from the threat of these mutas. Still doesn't have the Corsair count to deal with this. It's actually making even more cannons. One thing cRoSs has done is kept the Corsair count low, which means it'll buy him more time basically to whenever he's ready to transition out of mutas. He does of course need more production to make other units. Hydras and wings are much cheaper, and as a result you see him going up to 5 hatcheries and throwing down that Hydra den.
Alrighty, well, cRoSs with some uncharacteristic miss micro there. We do have cRoSs in the chat, it looks like, man. What happened there? Was that a misclick? Did you accidentally attack your own units there and the Scourge just suicided onto a Muta?
Alright, we have no scouting at the front, so this is huge. We're going to have a move out, and cRoSs's not going to see this coming. We have him throwing down a 6 hatch. He's not going to have any time to use it. He really needs creep colonies or some other kind of units to deal with this army comp.
Yeah, the Sarah is almost already just going to be enough by themselves to deal with this, but the Archon is going to zone out the Mutas from ever doing damage to these Zealots. As long as he keeps that Archon in a nice, good position out in front, the Zealots don't get too far ahead. You know, BoA is going to have a really easy time to once he arrives here at this base, and the Archon no longer has to try and keep up with the Zealots.
And Muna's getting torn apart by this Corsair splash, and with no units left over, cRoSs is just going to lose this base again. You got slow Hydras being rallied or being sent in from the net. Just not enough.
Yeah, and this is a pretty classic ZVP struggle where you just kind of go for a little too much before the first attack here, and you kind of just die to a big group of units. I know certainly for myself as one of the newer players in the scene, and just generally a low skill player, that happens a lot. Or you just you kind of overestimate how much time you have, and so you're still setting up infrastructure as the Protoss arrives, and you're still in that mode where you're just not making very many units, and so you just die. And it does look pretty abysmal from a spectator's point of view, but it is a pretty common mistake, because after that is really when you start producing a consistent standing army. So a little bit mistimed, a little unfortunate, but not an indication at all of like some kind of dominating skill gap. Alrighty guys, in the bottom left hand corner this time, I believe on Sylphid, we have spawning as the yellow Protoss, we got BoA.
And in the bottom right corner we have cRoSs as the blue Zerg. That's cRoSs's pick. This is a good ZVP map. One of the more unique ways to play this map is just to never stop making Hydras, and you can probably get a good engagement out in the middle of the map. It's wide open, and it suits cRoSs's style. cRoSs is more of a, I guess, micro-oriented player. Not that he has bad macro, but he can really rely on his micro. You got BoA sending out the probe. Looks like no one base shenanigans. Is he going to scout immediately after? It'll let us know what kind of build he's going to do. Sends it. Nope, he's going to keep it at the net. So this is a 1 gate again from BoA.
Of course, 1 gate, pretty nice. Just in general, creates a lot of pressure. It worked out really well for him last game when he had to react to a very early pool.
Alright, 9 gate, of course, if you keep the probe at the net. It's because you're going to 9 gate and not 10. You can mine once with the probe and then have a slight probe cut. Or avoid the slight probe cut if you mine once and then make the gate slightly later on 10. BoA checked for the Overlord coming in from 12 o'clock. Pretty normal, and now he's gonna go to the other spawn, having confirmed that cRoSs is not at 12. But cRoSs curiously did, I guess, an Overlord scout, where that kind of meta game with the probe checking if the Overlord is coming would not have worked. As you can see, he sent it kind of off to the side and then angled it towards the net. If cRoSs were at 12, he probably would have done something like sending it to the left side of the map and then down. And that would have really thrown BoA off, but it doesn't work this game.
Oh, cRoSs's return cargo just slightly too slow, and now he's getting his hatchery denied very irritatingly by a probe here at the net.
Alright, getting that scout in. And now wings are going to be produced. I'm a bit curious as to where you would take your third on this map against 1-gate. You could take the mineral only, it's closer, but it's also closer to Perlas. The green base, which is pretty bad as a third, it mines out super quickly. Or this farther third on the high ground at 3 o'clock, which is harder to defend from 1-gate. But much better base than the other two overall.
Looks like we have additional Zealot production. So we're going to be seeing a little bit of action here in the early game here. Now cRoSs trying to take out that probe as fast as possible. Because for a unit that does very little damage, it just does the perfect amount of damage to allow Zealots to two-shot Zerglings as if they had their +1 upgrade.
Here we go. 6 lanes against 2 Zealot, it'll basically come down to micro. The unhealthy Zealot getting pulled back. But cRoSs still wins with 2 lanes left over.
Yeah, that's certainly a good favorable trade that he wants to be taking. He does have now 4 Zerglings on the map as well, and that is going to be enough to deal with his incoming Zealot still.
Yeah, you basically don't want to over-make lanes, but you just want to have enough to deal with the Zealots. With slow lings, that means 4 lings per Zealot. With speed lings, probably 3. And all these lings that are left over are actually pretty key. Now, it forces BoA in a position where he just has to play defensively. He didn't trade that well with the Zealots, but it's not the worst thing in the world if you just force Zergs to make lings. And he'll transition into normal game. He's getting his tech up. cRoSs has speed on the way. Hasn't pulled off gas quite yet.
Are you kidding me? I cannot believe that Zergling made it into the main. That's spectacular.
We're gonna, I mean, getting into the main is good enough. Let's see how long we can keep this alive. Ooh, we're gonna have a Hydra then. So cRoSs is getting Hydra, it's getting link speed and then Hydras as well. This is pretty tricky because normally when you go for Hydras, you don't get that link speed. You don't really need it. So I'm interested in what the follow-up is going to be. Is he just going to make Hydras and bust like a normal 3-hatch Hydra, or is he just going to get Hydras for range, kill the wall, and then follow with a bunch of speed links? Come on, what's at the den? Alright, so we have Hydra range.
Yep.
This is what I was talking about. I'm excited. I haven't seen this build in a while.
Yeah, it certainly is pretty deceiving too, as the gigantic pile of speedlings just does a ridiculous amount of damage really quickly. Much more potent than the Hydras.
The benefit of lings is that they come out 2 at a time, and they're really just fast, so your production is there that much faster than with Hydras. We have Hydras being produced already. Of course, these Hydras are just to kill the wall. You really just want to kill it, so your lings can flood in easily without any opposition. Well, with another cannon going down, he's playing this safe. He's even making a 3rd cannon, so maybe he suspects something is up, or maybe he just plays like this normally. He, of course, his blind has no information whatsoever. He's going to use this Corsair, hopefully to scout and not kill this Overlord that's out at the front. Right, even more lings being produced. He's hiding them, of course. You don't want to reveal your strat.
Alright, the Hydras almost have arrived here.
I'm a bit curious. You really want to be poking at this wall earlier than this. You can't. Maybe he's just gonna dive with the Hydras? Not really sure.
Yeah, his troop movement is interesting. It's kind of weird that he just chose to reveal these Zerglings here.
I'm gonna get that fort before +1 is done. This is a ton of zealots though, this isn't just cannons. And annoyingly the Corsair has already killed one Overlord, gonna kill second. So cRoSs really has to go here and now.
Yeah, he's not going to have an opportunity to reinforce unless a lot of his units here die.
Oh man, this gateway getting a ton of value and none of these links could effectively get on top of the cannons.
Oh yeah, and now we're just Hydras at the front once again.
I think the Hydras have speed now.
Now while the gate in the front has gone down, we do have gateways in the main as well that have been put up here. So reinforcement zealots are going to come very quickly, and once legs kick in, which is going to happen almost now. Yeah, here we go. They're just as finished up here. The zealots are going to all of a sudden become a much better defensive tool as they are able to rush up on top of the Hydras and get their very sizable DPS down on them. This is looking really bad for cRoSs right now. cRoSs's got his macro hatchery on the way, so he's looking to make an attempt at macroing out of this. But honestly, if he goes for this kind of like trying to macro out of it, he's really at serious threat of just being overrun by speedlots here in the mid game.
Alright, more cannons going up. We have delayed archives actually, so these zealots are actually pretty strong in support of the cannons. On their own they might just be eaten alive, or really has to retreat, and he's at threat of being busted here. Like this storm isn't going to be out for another minute, and if cRoSs just keeps making Hydras, he could easily get busted.
Yeah. Now BoA really only has to not die here though. He is 10 workers ahead currently. Once he has Storm out, these Hydra busts are certainly going to be completely held off with essentially ease. So long as we kind of stay alive here for a little bit and don't die to the early Hydras, going into the mid game he's going to have a sizable economic advantage.
Right, cRoSs is going to commit here. This is a ton of Hydras. We have the pylon at the front to kind of hopefully take some shots off from these Hydras. The cannons going down, zealots going down. Good probe drill on these Hydras.
Zealots
really hurting the AI.
Zealots finding no room to do any damage here, and these cannons are very easy to kill with Hydralisk. They die super fast. As cRoSs is certainly going to be busting this natural expansion. A little surprised, honestly. The probes seem to have blocked a lot of the pathing off for the Hydralisk, so unfortunately, it was really difficult for them to be able to do the damage that they need to do to this Hydra Ball here. The last two High Templar now being formed into an Archon to try to maybe hold, for a little bit longer here, but only getting 3 Zealots at a time is not going to be enough to compete with cRoSs's 4 hatches worth of Hydralisks.
I mean, that came down to the Star Control. Like you said, the probe drill was good, but it seemed to affect the Zealots as well. They weren't able to get on top of the Hydras, and once all the Zealots went down, the cannons were very easy to target and pick off. You really want to keep your Zealots alive just in front of the cannons enough so the Hydras can't get on top of the cannons and shoot the Zealots instead. Zealots, of course, only take half damage from Hydras, whereas cannons take full. So a bit of a miscontrol from BoA, and as you saw, the Hydra bust basically came seconds before Storm was done.
Alrighty, well, that looks like pretty easy to call for cRoSs at this point. And BoA does throw up the GG, and that is going to be game number 2, I believe?
Yep. Not really sure if that was a throw or just what. I mean, BoA had a clear picture of what was happening. Storm was maybe 10 seconds late. Maybe if he had a couple better, a couple more cannons, or just slightly better handled that engagement, he would have held.
Yeah, honestly, I think he certainly could have held, but his zealots were being kept in between the cannons, and then when the probe drill came out, it looked like they blocked off a lot of the melee pathing. So the zealots just kind of ran around and back, not doing any DPS, not really tanking for the cannons, and the cannons took a lot of damage before the zealots were able to get on top of the army.
Alright, now we have match point, BoA's pick. Like I said, every time we've seen this map, it's after a Protoss loss. We have BoA spawning as the red Protoss in the top right corner.
And in the bottom left-hand corner, having evened it up here in the last game, we have cRoSs.
Interesting to see if this game will repeat itself, where BoA went for a fast DT opener and just attacked several different locations with the DT. Kept cRoSs on the back foot as a result, and even got into the main and got a ton of drone kills.
Now, you've mentioned this a number of times, but oftentimes on this map we see a bit more of the greedy openers for the Protoss players, as the rush distance is very long and they do get the first scout every single time.
Right, we have cRoSs, Overlords in production. We're not going to see a 9-pool here.
Likely going to be an overpool just due to the propensity for Protoss to be able to stop that natural expansion for quite some time. There's the pool now.
We do have if this probe gonna get in and scout this, he can delay his forge a little bit more on this map. Probe is gonna get in, sees the pool, sees the Overlord. Alright, he knows this is overpool. Gonna get that forge up, or yep, he's gonna get that forge up. Like I said, you can delay your forge even longer on this map. There's a little bit okay, this wall from BoA is very good. He's going to make the gateway on top of this forge, and you can see the only gaps are between the pylon on both sides. Where a 2-gap wall is very effective. Some slight pro harass, but one thing that's important as Protoss is you don't want to take any health damage on this probe. You can take shield, but not health, because you don't want to send out any more probes, and you just want to keep this alive as long as possible to get that full scout off. At least until your Zealot is out, or maybe even until your Corsair. You have BoA gonna make a cannon after Nexus. Both playing standard. Oh, probe is dangerously low on health. Good control from cRoSs, kills that off instantly, and now BoA. He's probably sad. You really don't want to send on any more probes. You're gonna lose some of your economy.
Now BoA, he's probably sad. Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. You're not even guaranteed to get the second probe across if they've got multiple lings on the field here. And you really do want to see what's going on with their gas, man. It's such a frustrating thing to be blind as a Protoss player, because Zerg has so many different options in the early game, and you really want to know which one it is. Otherwise, preparing for it's going to be suboptimal, put you really on the back foot during the mid game.
Right? Looks like we're not even gonna... I mean, sometimes it's not worth it. I had a game recently where I was playing, and okay, I lost my first probe to Ling, so I'm like, okay, I'll send the second one out. As it was being sent out and I was in my main, I lost it instantly, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send the third one out. And this happened again, so I just said, you know what, I'm not gonna scout. Sometimes it's better to just keep the probes. You're not guaranteed to get across the map. But it looks like cRoSs is going to play standard. He has his lair on the way. Blink speed started. Saturating the net. And then shortly after the third, meanwhile BoA also playing standard. His core is about to finish, so I am pretty confident he's going to make a Stargate. He's done it every game, and when you're blind, you can't really take risks. And BoA seems like a safe player. We did see he made 3 cannons last game when he was blind. And there's the Stargate. No +1. Okay, we have +1 ground. We haven't seen BoA get +1 air in any of these games. Even in the game where cRoSs went mutas, he elected to skip it. Looks like this game as well.
Alrighty, first Corsair just about to get started here. But yeah, you know, I noticed that generally all the Protoss players that we've been seeing have been going for that +1 air. Has it just become more common and like a more commonplace thing to do? And if so, why would BoA be skipping it? Is this could be just a lack of familiarity with the current meta, or what are we talking about?
I mean, I think it's just a okay. So the comfort thing. I mean, you can skip that +1 air, and if they don't go mutas, it really pays off because you could just go for low Sayer numbers like 2 or 3 instead of the 5 or 6, and then you don't really need to invest in all that anti-air, and it'll pay off if they don't go mutas. Now, it's a risk because if they do go mutas and you're lacking that +1, when you transition back into Sayers, they're not going to be as powerful. But it's a stylistic thing, and now we have BoA doing an interesting build where he's getting the 2nd and 3rd gateway at his net. Of course, this is going to be a slightly faster rally, and it's easier to macro on this map. When you do it like this, you have all your gateways in one location. Hold off gas, and he's going to start producing speed lots off 4 gateways. So he's going to only get the 2 Sayers. And this is good because cRoSs has no idea this is coming. He can't really scout until he uses the Scourge. And by the time he sees this, he's going to have to adjust what his game plan was. If you go Hydras against this, you're going to have a really tough time holding off the speed lots. Not impossible, but difficult. Your Hydras won't have both upgrades in times, and you're going to be facing a ton of speed lots. We're not seeing the same from BoA this game, no fast DT. And here we have 7 move out. The Zealot move out with 7 Zealots.
Well, this certainly is a lot more Hydras than we would normally see in the last few games that we've been casting. So there should be plenty of units here to defend against this Zealot move out, especially with the fact that the Scourge has just been keeping tabs on the Zealot the entire time. You know, cRoSs's had plenty of time to figure out what he wants to do here. Looks like he may even try to flank from the high ground, deciding that he's not going to get there in time, going to go back and just try to take the attack head on here. The Zealots immediately positioned in a pretty good spot to distribute their DPS very well over this large quantity of Hydralisks. However, as reinforcements continue to come out here, they are going to slowly start getting overwhelmed. Of course, we said it many times, the point of this attack is not necessarily to even get drone kills. You're just trying to force your opponent into making units at this point in the game.
And as you can see, cRoSs has been on 29 drones this entire time. This is exactly the amount you'd want before producing Hydras. You have 1 drone for every mineral patch. Normally it's 30, but this mineral only has 6. And now after defending this attack, cRoSs elects to drone up. And BoA, as a response, he's going to get a couple cannons up. He really does need this. He doesn't want to die just before Storm is done. It's about to be complete.
Of course, if cRoSs had made a lot more Hydralisks, it'd be much more of a threat, but of course BoA doesn't know if there's going to be rallies coming this way or not, so he does have to put those cannons down. A single cannon, not quite enough range damage without the assistance of Storm to really hold off a Hydralisk ball. But he is nice and safe now, and even cancels one of those now that all of the other ones have finished morphing, so he is nice and safe versus any kind of Hydralisk attack. Of course, one wasn't really incoming. But it looks like cRoSs is just adding on additional hatcheries. We should be seeing a very nice large amount of Hydralisks floating out here. We already have Lurker upgrade on the way as well, so things looking to be good. Getting those very important Lurkers to secure high grounds and stuff like that on this map, as we've talked about, that's very, very important. And things just going kind of towards the standard match point meta, where it's just people trying to keep other people off thirds. in 4th bases and beefy armies for the mid game.
And we do have cRoSs taking his 4th base with his 6th hatch, actually 7th hatch. So with a bunch of more drones being produced, he has the time. You basically want a drone when you know you're not going to be attacked in the next minute, and cRoSs took opportunity to do that. Jumped up to 46 drones, added a 6th and 7th hatch, and transitioned into lurkers. If he can just secure this high ground, he can easily defend his 3 bases. And then same thing goes for BoA, right? This map is about who controls whose high ground. BoA going up to 8 gateways. It's +2 is about halfway done. cRoSs is about a quarter way done, and he's gonna commit to a heavy Hydra Lurker mid-game army. No Hive on the way, no Queen's Nest.
cRoSs just trying to be annoying with small group of Hydras here, running around trying to force out storms. He's got 2 storms for his troubles. The Hydras, though, not going to do enough damage to kill off a High Templar before the Zealots finish them off, so they're going to just kind of try juke and drive their way back home. But cRoSs has made a number of lurkers now on the field, so those are going to be sufficient in order to secure this 4th base. Looks like we may even move some lurkers over here onto this ramp, and without obs on the way, this could be pretty annoying.
Yeah, but this isn't the key location. You really want the other high ground. Being over here doesn't really accomplish much. Protoss, sure, Protoss won't likely move out if there's a lurker field here, but they could just go around.
Yeah.
Even more cRoSs as his dwarf is getting up. He's gotta prioritize taking this gas as well. He's been on 2 gas, and once you switch into lurkers, you really want that 3rd gas. Start mixing in some more lurkers with your Hydra army, and here comes BoA with his first big attack.
Yeah. Now cRoSs has an extremely low number of lurkers up here on the high ground. This is potentially very scary coming in here, as this army is comprised
Why
of
do we have lurkers at 6
Zealots.
What the heck?
They were originally morphed on BoA's high ground here, so they're making their way back around the main army so they don't die. Good number of Hydralisks, though. Just a couple of more. If these lurkers can get up on the high ground and burrow before too many storms obliterate the Hydralisk army, that'll be good. Unfortunately, very little in the way of pullback micro for the Hydralisk, but the lurkers have arrived here now, and cRoSs is focusing down the obs, so this is good. BoA is likely going to be pushed back here. He's going to use his storms and then walk away.
Yeah, those are actually all monster storms from BoA. Fortunately, he did lose his only 2 observers. This is very annoying as Protoss. You're doing so well in the fight, you just want it to keep going, but then you lose your observers and you have to pull back. cRoSs repositioning some of his lurkers so that they don't take damage. They don't take damage from storm. You don't want 2 lurkers to be hit by the same storm.
Alright, now that another obs has arrived, the opportunity to continue this push has presented itself once again. Obs goes down once again, though, and cRoSs buying a lot of time here. Now, the army is still looking like it's in favor a little bit of BoA. Lurkers, very good units, but unfortunately not very good versus large numbers of Dragoons, as they don't really get to take advantage of their splash damage in the way that they normally would. But this continued sniping of the obs has just proven to be such an effective tactical decision for cRoSs, as he has been able to hold off what would have been lethal attacks now 2 times in a row here, just due to the virtue of not being able to shoot the lurkers.
One thing is that once that fight ended, BoA was left over with 0 storms, so you have to be a little bit careful. Like this is what I'm talking about. Like now he can't actually engage anymore. He only has 1 High Templar with 1 storm, and in the meantime, he's trying to set up a 4th. I like that he sent the Zealot. If you just send the probe, I think there was a Ling there. That Ling could have denied that 4th by itself. So just sending 1 Zealot didn't allow him to take that base. Here we go, we're out of storm again, so even though it looked good for a while, now we have to pull back. This is a ton of Hydras, and our Dragoon army is going to get eaten if we stay here.
This is really unfortunate. I know that the Protoss army certainly does seem like it's kind of cheap, as it's just gateway units, but it's kind of exactly the opposite. Dragoons are highly expensive, very high value units for the Protoss army, and losing them just to pure Hydra without any kind of supporting storm is really, really unfortunate. You want to kind of have that big critical mass of Dragoons where they're able to really start contributing to these fights. So that way you can start switching to you know, other types of units here. But when you're losing the Dragoons, it really does do a number on your ability to break down any of these big lurker fields. Now, cRoSs has taken excellent fights on the way over to this third here, so much so he should be able to bust this low ground, I think, if he wants to. Lurker's going to need to reposition to help with these Zealot reinforcements. And oh, massive storm, though. Oof, big storm here. But
Lurkers
still
on
no
this high
obs.
ground. This is pretty oppressive for... I mean, it's pretty bad when they take your high ground with Lurkers. One thing that is actually in cRoSs' favor is that he's not overcommitting to Lurkers. He's actually producing a ton of Hydras. And this is very annoying because against an army comp that's a lot of Lurkers, you go Master Dragoons and you're doing fine. But if they start to make less Lurkers and more Hydras, what you really want are High Templars and Zealots.
cRoSs not missing a beat, remembering that there was a Zealot down here in the bottom right hand corner, going to go ahead and make sure that that base is not allowed to go down here. Now we have a counter from BoA, but there is a pretty large number of Hydralisks, of course. To his you know, to his advantage, there are not any Lurkers currently on cRoSs' high ground pod. Wow, big storms all game here, but still large number of units. If these Lurkers were to burrow and assist this army, it would be pretty good, but looks like instead cRoSs is focusing his APM on taking the units that were on the high ground and moving them back over to this high ground for BoA. Now that the army has once again been pushed back onto BoA's side of the map, cRoSs can, you know, afford to take all of his units and push them across the map here. And this is very good, you know. cRoSs once again going to be allowed to take this high ground, and this is super important as currently, as you can see, there is absolutely no mining going on at the mineral only, so BoA has been stuck on 2 bases for a very long time, and even once he's able to secure this third base, if he's able to, he's going to have very little in the way of resources from his main and natural to help supplement that income.
Yeah, BoA does actually win this fight, but with cRoSs' production, he's going to be able to retake this high ground at any moment. You can look at his rally, or he has to control groups of Hydras, has some more in his Nat, and even more at his fourth. cRoSs taking a fifth at 12 o'clock. In the meantime, looks like we're not going to have Hive at all. Really just committing to this mid-game army, and if you can do this while taking good fights, you're going to end up in a good position. BoA, this one Lurker with 10 kills, has denied mining for so long. Now he's even getting more damage done, finally gets killed. We have speed on the observers, helps control them a bit more easily, keeps them from getting picked off. What are the upgrades like? We have Protoss at 3-0 and Hydras at 2-1.
That's certainly not a bad situation to be in. The two attack upgrade is very potent on large numbers of Hydralisks like this. And here we go, another big engagement with very little in the way of storms in the tank here, and the storms not nearly as good as they once were for BoA here. Obs now goes down as well. Of course, there are no more Lurkers left on the high ground for that to matter too much, but as you can see, the number of army units on the ground here for BoA at the third is incredibly small in comparison to this incredibly powerful, very large Hydra army.
We do have BoA producing mostly High Templars now to help them defend the space. But at this point, we have BoA with 3 mineral patches in his main, and the mineral only. You know, cRoSs still has a Nat main and third fully mining.
cRoSs has done some very good storm dodging as well, so these engagements up until this very recent point have been very effective. Lots of Hydralisks now left over, and going to be able to push into this, I think, here with a couple of healthy Hydralisks in the front.
Yeah, cRoSs is just at a point where you can produce much more than BoA, and if he just keeps... I like this a lot, where he's using the low HP Hydras and morphing into Lurkers. They'll spawn as fully healed Lurkers. It's a really effective tactic to just keep your army alive as long as possible, and then using them to be even more effective. BoA getting on top of these Lurkers just before they spawn and before the reinforcing Hydras get here. A nice little win for him, but here comes the majority of cRoSs' army.
Yeah, I mean, this was pretty ballsy, but unfortunately there's no obs with this army here. is just coming in now, and this lurker's already got a lot of damage done.
Now we have straight high Templars are going to be picked off. Really hurts.
Yep, and now the main army is essentially isolated. Getting currently chased down as reinforcements come over to the natural expansion.
Yeah, not much to do here. cRoSs 5th is set up. Drone's there. But can't really divert attention to do anything like harass when he's been focusing on just basically establishing this third. Only just recently started mining it. We do have control of the high ground finally. But our storm number is looking dangerously low yet again. We're only on 2 storms currently. One thing to point out is even if the supply counts look equal, that's actually terrible for Protoss. Hydras only count as 1 supply.
Yeah, you're essentially saying Zerg has double the army if the workers are the same. Look at the ridiculous number of Hydras just continuing to flood in here.
We're gonna ball with the GG.
Here we're in. Seriosity here, man? Alright, there we go. Sarah, you here?
Yep.
Okay, cool, man. Alrighty, guys. Well, we are going to be heading on into the next game here. Potentially the last game if cRoSs is able to close this one out. If not, though, pretty remarkable.
Yeah, we've had 2 series already going to an ace match, and this could potentially go as well. Every series has been competitive. So about an ideal round of 8, if you ask me.
Yeah, and this is always one of the big things that I really appreciate about NASL is the skill gap between our players is pretty small just in general. I mean, you saw TT1 and Yaj, what some people might consider to be probably the largest skill mismatch of this portion of the tournament, the round of 8 here, and that went surprisingly well for Yaj. Like, was able to once again bring it to the final game, and that series is looking very strong. I certainly appreciate watching matches like this so much more than we have when we have like the really serious skill mismatches where like pretty much anyone from the round of 8 could potentially be taking the title. I think it's a lot more exciting, a lot more fun. Really love doing these North American tournaments.
Yeah, I like that there's no clear victor when you start the tournament. There's no overwhelming presence there that you're gonna see definitely make it into the finals and probably win it all. Every season we've had different people in the finals, and I would not be surprised if this season was like that as well.
Yeah, I mean, even just getting into groups can be difficult for some of the best players in the scene, and that's just kind of goes to show you how volatile and how small the gap is in between these players is. And of course, Pseudo Widow pointing out the very extremely cheesy sentiment that the only clear victor is the viewers. Although I do have to agree. Alrighty, guys. Well, let's go ahead and once again introduce our players at the top right-hand corner, spawning as the teal Zerg. We have cRoSs.
And in the bottom left corner, we have BoA.
Now, keep in mind, BoA, once again, this is potentially his last game. He has to win this. cRoSs will be moving on.
It's always a little bit of a nerve-wracking situation when you're 1 game away. You know, any mistake can just end your tournament run.
Imagine the supply block at 32 or something, where your troops come out just a little bit too late and you die to the all-in.
I mean, that's what happened on Sylphid. His storm was just slightly late, and he died to the all-in. Well, it looks like we're going to have 1 gate again. He's keeping that probe next to the pylon. He's going to see a 9 gate. There we go. And then he's going to send this out to scout. Now, looks like cRoSs is going to go for a 9 pull speed yet again. Nope, not 9. Just regular.
Gas looked a little bit late for a regular 9 pull speed, but yeah, even still, this is probably, I mean, this is like the best build order versus this 9 pool, because the 9 pool is going to continuously have to produce lings and not have an opportunity to drone for quite some time. While on BoA's side of the map, he's going to be able to continue to produce probes. He's going to get his nexus down. He's going to move himself towards a forge, and once the forge is up, he'll get a cannon, and he'll not have to continue to produce zealots. And then, you know, we're just going to move on into his normal mid game. cRoSs is potentially going to be at a pretty significant disadvantage unless he gets a very nice engagement and has really good micro. So overall, I think if BoA is in this position here, seeing these build orders, he's got to be feeling very happy. This pylon block is also very, very irritating for cRoSs. This is going to deny him a good like 1 to 2 larva, and larva is really the resource that he's super focused on getting out right now, as that is going to be what is the determining factor in how many zerglings he can have on the field.
Alright, so this is 9 pull, not 9 pull speed, but BoA is still respecting the presence of lings this fast, and he's going forge before nexus. Now this might be an overreaction to just the 9 pull. He is going to have 2 zealots by the time these lings get here, and that's more than enough to defend.
Yeah.
Normally when you 1 gate, you really just want to get that nexus up, and then follow this up with cannons. Even forcing the 3 probes off the line is a big victory for cRoSs.
Yeah. Actually, fairly interesting considering that BoA had his scout alive in the main as well the entire time. That is going to give BoA a lot of information on what he needs to worry about. Of course, he knows that there's no Zergling all-in quite yet coming. There was no gas for speed. You know, there was drone production, that type of thing. So BoA should be fairly confident in his ability to keep his natural safe, and he is moving out now that he knows that that is not going to be a big threat for a little while. And I like this. I mean, he knows that at least, you know, cRoSs was droning. He can then make the assumption that the 3rd is probably going to be going down, since that is more of an economic focus. And yeah, everything is going to be pretty nice getting across the map here, forcing Zerglings when when cRoSs really wants to be droning and getting his economy running.
Standard 3 zealot move out. More for a scout than anything. BoA behind this, finally getting his tech up. cRoSs getting the gas just enough to get speed and then pulling off. Really want to maximize your mineral mining with this. Hopefully we don't see a repeat of game 1 where we lost the hatchery to, what was 3 zealots.
Yeah. Well, cRoSs certainly has made a much larger number of Zerglings this time. Of course, the excellent micro from the zealots have made them very cost effective, all things considered. Generally, when you have an overwhelming number of Zerglings like that, your zealots are not going to trade quite that well. Now that all these Zerglings are bruised up, though, this final Zealot that's incoming is going to be able to clean them all up very easily, and we have yet another Zealot actually on the way to continue this pressure here. And this is kind of what I was talking about earlier. cRoSs is really on the back foot here. He does not want to just continue to be making these Zerglings. Of course, he did go for speed, so this is going to make them trade much more favorably now. But even still, it's very annoying to continue to have to move your drones off of the mineral line, to have their mining denied, you know, to continue to have to make Zerglings to respond to this over and over and over again when you know your Protoss opponent is just continuing to make those darn probes and really doing it. Oh my god, look at this micro, that was fantastic! Keeps both the Zealots alive here.
Even gets 1 more lane before dying.
Yeah, and that makes this trade favorable once again for the Zealot, or at least even. Let's see, are the Zerglings touched at all? No, so this should be even. Ooh, good micro to run around one of the Zerglings so that way it didn't have the opportunity to consistently DPS on that Zealot. Man, dude, BoA's micro is immaculate here with these Zealots, continuing to put on pressure, continuing to get value despite the fact that cRoSs has known this is coming for a while now. Now that we have 4 Zerglings, there's no real opportunity to effectively micro versus that, and as you can see, 3 Zerglings make it out alive from that trade pretty easily. But I am a little concerned. Why are we still sending Zealots, though? I mean, they're trading okay, but cRoSs is just slowly continuing to add on Zerglings here. I guess maybe the idea is that if we just keep on sending Zealots, cRoSs keeps having to make Zerglings, and then, you know, he's not able to drone as fast.
Yeah, that's a bit. I mean, it's a good decision if, for example, even if there are enough links to defend from the Zealots, had he sent the Zealot to the third instead of the Nat, forcing any kind of drone pull, that would have been more effective than just sending them where the lings are already.
Yeah, and they're spawning there, so I'm not sure what the idea to consistently just continue to send them that one spot is, but overall, though, pretty efficient use of the Zealots just in general. You know, he's able to force out a ton of Zerglings here.
Of course, BoA very anxious to get one of these Overlords that are out on the map. cRoSs hit them well. He is continuing to produce Corsairs, even getting +1. A bit curious, he's not going to need it. And he knows this, having confirmed that there was a 4th hatch in a den with that Zealot. cRoSs transitioning into 5 hatch Hydra, getting his Lair Evolution Chamber right after.
Here we go. We do find the Overlord, but there's enough Hydralisks here to push the Corsairs back. So gonna be a 0 Overlord kill start, which is pretty darn nice for cRoSs.
This Overlord at the left side still being hidden. 6 hatch going down for cRoSs. cRoSs is actually in a very strong position economically.
Oh yeah, I mean he was even almost the entire time that Zealot harass is going on, because he kept adding, you know, a few Zerglings here, but continued to drone the entire time. So was able to stay at worker parity with, you know, BoA, and now that there's less of a threat of that, of course, you know, Zerg is extremely potent at producing workers when they are going unmolested. So very, very, very strong economy going. You never really want to be behind a Zerg as a Protoss player on the economic front here, because they are, you know, obviously much stronger per amount of money invested and all that. The Hydra's just incredibly potent units here. So as you can see, man, cRoSs is going to have a massive, massive mid game here. He does, I believe, does he have a second? Oh, I thought okay, so it is only single Evo chamber right now. He'll add the other ones on later after +1 is completed. But he's going to have a very powerful Hydralist army coming in the mid game here with 6 hatchery.
Yeah, ball moving out. But if you look at the time, this is a 9-minute Zealot move out timing. This is a result of the early game where he went cannons before Nexus with 1 gate, giving cRoSs plenty opportunity to drone up, and now he's forced with a Zerg that has what looks like to be almost 3 control groups of Hydras by the time these Zealots get out on the map.
Alrighty, well, Storm about half the way done. Armor also on the way for our Protoss player. In the meantime, +1 is getting very close to finishing for the Hydralisk, which is a pretty big power spike for them when they're going versus you know, Zealots. Now, the armor upgrade is certainly very helpful to deal with negating that, but remember, armor does not affect shields, and shields take full damage, I believe, from Hydralisk shots, right? So
from everything.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
everything.
So the first portion of damage done to the Zealots does do the full damage, and that is not mitigated by any kind of armor, unfortunately. So this +1 is a very potent early upgrade that does make the Hydralisk much, much stronger versus Zealots. And unfortunately, that is going to have a good amount of time to do its work.
Oh, are we actually? Nope. Looks like we had the opportunity. Yes, we are. We have the opportunity to cancel this fork with the Zealot. We did a little bit of a dance there. And now he's going to go the other way, and cRoSs is not going to be able to catch these Zealots in time. So a nice little pick off there for BoA.
Well, cRoSs is looking to cut them off at this large ramp over here and potentially find some damage. Now, he does come at a bad angle, hugging the side here, so he's not going to actually be able to cut them off. And there's a very large army here on the map here of just Zealot High Templar. I don't think cRoSs wants to fight here currently. He's going to back off for now. The Templar count is getting pretty decent, though. We're at 3 Templar right now. This is a little bit earlier of a stopping point than I see a lot of Protoss players go. Usually I see like 5 Templar. So I'm not sure what the idea is, but we are already transitioning 2 Dragoons here. So going to be kind of an early mid-game army composition that I'm not super hype about. I just want to see 2 more Templar, honestly.
I mean, we're gonna have 6 storms, but yeah, you usually want 4 minimum, possibly 5 even. Dragoons are actually very strong. There's a moment where, with support, the Dragoon mass becomes very threatening, but if you run out of storms, as we saw last games, the Dragoons by themselves can't do much against pure Hydra.
Yeah. And honestly, the early add-on of the the Dragoons before seeing a really large number of lurkers is a little perplexing. Because, I mean, obviously you're adding on Dragoons because they deal with, you know, Hydras, like, pretty okay, but really you want them because otherwise you really just can't do anything to fight against Lurkers other than Storms, and Storms a very inefficient way of dealing with them. So, yeah, quite perplexing, this rush towards Dragoons here, especially when, you know, you saw that cRoSs was making Hydralisks. It's not like this is, like Zergling, you know, like Zergling Lurker, where you kind of have to have Dragoons in order to fight against it.
We're gonna see. I'm interested to see where BoA decides to attack, because he has a lot of paths. We do have this big ramp leading up to the 4th. We have this large ramp that leads into the net and 3rd area. Looks like he's gonna redirect to go there. cRoSs lurkers are on the left side of this ramp. We don't have a 3rd. We have a 3rd being set up finally. Some cannons only there. But big commitment from BoA on this mid-gate army. He does have 8 gateways. 1-1 upgrades. Lots of units left behind at his rally. He should really group up before he commits.
It is nice that you point that out, though. I do really like how many ridiculous attack paths there are on Eclipse. Lots of decent-sized chokes still, though. So, you know, it's not like these attack paths are really particularly dangerous for one or the other races. They're, you know, it clumps up fairly well enough for Templar to be useful while not being so open that, you know, like Hydralisks can just run amok unimpeded. Overall, it's just really cool. You know, you have this attack path. You can also come down here from the side if you go around this high ground pod. There's attack paths to the left, one through the middle of the map, and one that goes over that roundabout way we saw the Zealots retreat through. So lots of really cool stuff here. But, you know, we were talking a little bit about how low the storm count is. And as well as these storms have been doing here, as you can see, we're already out of storms, and we're still not even close to out of Hydralisks. So we're going to have to just keep seeing, you know, these Dragoons just back up here, back up, and try to use that high ground to their advantage here. But as you can see, they're just starting to slowly lose the fight to the mass of Hydralisks here. Could you imagine if there was like 4 more storms? This would be such a different story.
Yeah, with that cRoSs defends the big push. Of course, he does have to be careful. Can't really
Ooh.
just keep. Oh, what a storm! Now that one storm can change the tide of the battle.
2 storms certainly can. That was some very efficient use of his spell using units here. With that, the Hydralisks are forced to back off. Of course, we have a large contingent of lurkers starting to come in here. cRoSs looking to go for maybe some sort of a flank play. Not really sure what this small contingent of Hydralisks is supposed to be doing. Maybe trying to cut off like High Templar reinforcements or something like that. But overall, I think this is pretty even. Those last 2 storms really changing the tide of battle here.
Yeah, cRoSs a bit over-ambitious there. Didn't really need to keep chasing that army, knowing that BoA's likely reinforcing it. And the farther out you go into the map, the closer you get to their reinforcements. So that kind of extension let BoA back into the game, because he had convincingly lost that fight, and then having picked off what was like 12-15 Hydras for free, let BoA back into the game, having some map control. Now we have a big fight coming in here. Lurkers getting burrowed, but you don't really want to burrow your lurkers into the army. You want to have them set up as they come into you. BoA uses his storms and wisely backs away. This Templar here is going to have enough... Oh, no, just makes it into an Archon. You really want to use your storms and then pull back unless you can win the fight. If you keep going with your attack, it could be troublesome. We have cRoSs going up to a 4th gas, so now he's going to start mixing in a lot more lurkers.
Alrighty, well this is a very scary position for the Zerg to push into here. The Protoss just does not have enough army to really take this fight. And so, what is going to happen here, man? I mean, as long as we continue to micro back against the Zealots here, and the Hydras just continue to fight from this good angle with all these, you know, lurkers just with the supporting fire here, I don't really think that there's much that BoA can do to take an efficient fight here. I get why he's fighting for this, but it just seems like, why not just back up?
We are still closer to both sides of the map, so he was able to win that fight with the reinforcements, but now here comes cRoSs' reinforcements.
Ooh, good
Decent
storm
storm, but
dodge.
unfortunately they were actually already moving forward. Pick off another High Templar and cRoSs retreats. One thing I'm noticing is cRoSs really needs to saturate his fourth. He's been pretty low on drones there all game. Some of these patches aren't even being touched. Focusing a little bit too much on the aggression. Really not... I mean, now that BoA's third base is set up, he really needs to use his economy, or like boost his economy. Because 4 base against 3 when you don't have Hive is not necessarily great for Zerg. You really want to produce and win with mass production when you stay on Hydras. Kind of like the game on match point.
Yeah. 4 base versus 3 is not bad, but you're not able to continue to secure a lead, I guess, right? Like, you can win the fights or go even in the fights with that level of production and economy, but the thing is that the Protoss is going to be able to outlast you, and eventually your main and natural are going to run out, and then you're going to be fighting 2 base economy versus 2 base economy, and that's really when the problems start.
And one thing that I do like from BoA is that he does already have the 2 armor upgrades. Armor is actually extremely effective against this Hydra based army. You nullify their 2 attack, and then you have 2 attack yourself, so slight upgrade advantage for BoA, really helping him in all these fights.
You know, it's so funny when I played StarCraft, like way back when I was new to the game. Not even like Brood War, but like StarCraft 2. Like, I didn't understand why upgrades were so good. Like, I was like, why do you care about 1 damage when I could, you know, that's like 2 tanks of money that I just wasted on 1 damage on some of my units. Like, what is the point of that? But really, if you ever watch any matchup where there's like a sufficient upgrade differential, oh my god, units are completely, like, their interactions are totally different.
Alright, we have BoA coming in. Now this is a completely different position. We're already at the base we want to be attacking, and we're using storms on Hydro clumps, forcing cRoSs into an awkward position trying to defend this base. Oh, we have Hydras catching 3 rallied High Templars. This is a big pick off. Now these armies, if cRoSs can defend from this base, these 3 High Templars that are coming and reinforced getting picked off means there's no support from this army, this Gateway army. It's only going to be Dragoons and 2 Archons. Now 2 Archons are extremely powerful. Not only do they do a bunch of damage, but they just tank all the Hydra shots so that your Dragoons can get in on the fight.
Alrighty, well, this is a massive victory. Not only are we getting a base, but a base with a macro hatchery as well here. Now that we're on 3 bases, as cRoSs versus 3 bases for BoA. BoA no longer has any pressure on him to really do anything on the map. He can just relax. He can amass a massive army, and you know, cRoSs's forced to try and rebuild his whole network of productivity and resource collection. And in the meantime, BoA is just going to be continuing to get that extremely sophisticated Protoss army that's going to have those Reavers and all of the Archons and all those really high-tech, expensive units that he wants to go for. He can even potentially take a 4th, as cRoSs's not going to be in a position to make any kind of big attacks for a while.
Yeah, with cRoSs committed to this Hydra-based army, he's stuck on layer and permanently behind on upgrades. He can't get any more weapon upgrades, so he's just going to scale poorly into the late game, whereas BoA getting his weapons 3, already has 2 armor, getting a 4th, forcing cRoSs to fight into him. This looks a lot more different than when Zerg has already a lurker field set up. Having to use your lurkers offensively like this makes them a lot less effective.
Oh my gosh. Now that we have sufficient High Templars with the army too, the Hydra army is looking a lot weaker. Man, it is so funny. This is such a classic situation where you have a a Zerg who has committed to a really aggressive Hydra mid game, and then they find themselves not being relevant in the late game, as their Hydra didn't just do enough damage, you know, to lock their Protoss opponent out of the game here. And now that BoA has really weathered the early to mid game storm here against the mass Hydra style, he is really starting to crush on through these big armies from cRoSs. Oh my gosh, major storm! All these Hydras in the red. Oh my god, what a spectacular use of storm once again. And as you can see, even with this army that hasn't really been reinforced very much at all, he's still being very, very effective versus Hydralisk with essentially pure Dragoon, which is not a normal thing to do very well versus Hydralisk.
Alright, so cRoSs does, I would consider that a victory in that fight, but like you said, there is no follow-up from here. This is everything cRoSs has left.
Yeah.
Using that 4th, he's going to be mining out of his main and Nat soon. Doesn't have the mineral resources to take another base, and he's committed to producing units because he really wants this 4th to not get up for Protoss, because that's what's spelled doom for cRoSs.
So, yep, cRoSs basically, his only real hope is to find a really spectacular place to attack, do an incredible amount of damage, and, you know, then after that, he's still fighting an uphill battle, because even if he kills a base, you know, he's still on one base economy versus, you know, like one base economy, and that is a winning fight for Protoss every time. So I'm really not sure. I mean, what can he do? I can't even think of a situation where cRoSs is so productive with his army that he's able to come back in this game.
I mean, there's so many Templars. This is the danger of Protoss when they get into these positions where they're not mining their main and Nat. You'd think that'd be a bad thing, but what does that mean? They start producing a bunch of High Templars.
Yeah.
They have 3 gases still and no minerals on 2 bases. We're gonna see a lot more High Templars. And here we have cRoSs effectively mined out. Look at his main, 1 patch, his Nat drying up, and his 3rd, only 2 patches. So there's nothing to do here. We have a hatch going down at bottom right, but that's not going to be up for a very long time, and BoA's 4th is already up and mining.
Yeah, there's going to be such a long period of time where cRoSs has literally no mineral income. Maybe not literally, but it's literally just going to be this last natural expansion. How much money is even here?
We're transferring 15 drones to
to a 4 base 300 mineral. Oh my god, dude, something is super wrong with my shoulder. 1 second.
Alright, we have what looks like to be the last fight. cRoSs trying to split his Hydras off as best as he can, but it's just being overrun by the larger army of BoA. BoA even storming his own observers, letting cRoSs knows that he doesn't need to see to win this game.
Yeah! The last one with 9 HP now, after recovering its shields a bit. Oh, fuck.
I mean, cRoSs trying his damnness. He still has 400 APM, even though he's not really doing much. He's just maneuvering the little bits of army that he has left. Look at all this larva sitting. He can't spend it. He has 1 mineral patch.
cRoSs finds 2 cannons, just barely able to win this fight regardless.
Yeah, we're actually probably gonna shut down this base, but this is all we have left.
Yeah. Oh, we can make a Hydra. Oh, we did. We made 1 Hydra. Where is it? Wait, where's the Hydra?
At the Nat.
There he is. This is all the hopes and dreams right here. This is the future of the Zerg. There we go. And cRoSs does decide to give up the GG. He does his very best with a very small amount of army at the very end of the game. But, you know, that's just how it goes. So we are once again going to the ace match.
Alright, another ace match in Nazle. And it's going to be on Fighting Spirit.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, well, this is going to be the final match for the day, and this is going to determine whether or not our two players make it on into the next portion of the tournament. So in the bottom left-hand corner, spawning as the Canadian Zerg in the blue, we have cRoSs.
And in the bottom right corner, we have the orange Protoss BoA, the last standing American player. Could we have an all-Canadian semifinal?
Well,
this map is Fighting Spirit. Everyone knows this map. I think BoA, he's shown to like the one gate, and nope, this time we're just gonna go for a Forge Fast Expand, mixing things up. cRoSs has gone for very aggressive builds in 2 of the 4 games. BoA checking for the Overlord Scout, as is normal. Gonna see he's not here, and probably gonna go to bottom left.
12 next, let's do it. 12 next, let's go!
We do have queuing up pros, but this just could be for a Forge.
12 next! Ah, it's for a Forge. Damn it. God damn you, drone. I mean, probe, what are you doing? Oh well. Certainly the right choice here.
Both players playing standard in the ace match. Not gonna see any kind of super early game cheese. No 4 pools from cRoSs. Just what you like to see in an ace match. Just both players playing what they're most comfortable with and hopefully delivering a long, exciting battle.
Hey, thank you so much for the balloon. We really appreciate it.
Alright, 1 balloon, who gave it?
I'll take it, man. Ah, the Terran Hope. It's in the chat. 1 balloon is worth about 10 cents.
And are you kidding? That's incredible. It's more money than I made all day.
True.
We have cRoSs with the overpool, gonna make 2 lings.
Oh my god, does the drone make it out?
If it was on 3 HP. We have the scout from cRoSs, so just 2 links is gonna be fine. BoA's probe is alive in the main. Starfucker again with the 50 balloon donation. Thanks so much, man.
Dude, how much money has he donated over the course of this tournament?
I think it's like 600 balloons.
That's insane, man. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's like multiple donations per stream. This guy is a huge supporter. We really appreciate it, man. And don't get me wrong, guys. If you're not able to make contributions, we don't hold it against you. You know, we really appreciate you guys just being here, being part of the scene, enjoying the cast, and just having fun with us. I don't want anyone to feel obligated to. It's just it's very helpful, you know. For those of you who have the financial ability and the means and the want to support, just thank you so much. But it's not an obligation. Just keep StarCraft alive with us, man. Just keep playing, keep talking to people, keep having fun, keep tuning into streams, stuff like that. That's all we ask.
Alright, I like the layer morph at the net from cRoSs. Gonna keep BoA on the fence a little bit longer about what kind of build that cRoSs is gonna be doing. BoA does know that this is a possibility. Comes and checks the net, sees the layer. Core is almost done anyway, so we're gonna probably see a Stargate following this up.
Alright, cRoSs.
3rd position, and I mean with this, BoA knows exactly what's going on in this game. This probe can probably go back home and he'll feel safe in knowing what Zerg's up to, at least till the Corsair is up.
4th hatch. Hydrogen. Do it. No, there's too much gas in the bank now.
Alright, BoA getting a Stargate in his 2nd gas stop. At least for now, this looks like a very standard opening. Not using his zealots as aggressively as the previous games, just keeping them back at his wall.
This Overlord, man. Very spooky. Okay, we're moving it away now. But there's always that saying, you know, if you leave the Overlord at the natural, it's gonna be a Hydra bust.
Yeah, so he's actually It's a fake move out, right? All right, so this is good. So he left Overlord there to confirm the +1 timing, right? And then he comes in to check the gas at the net. If there's no gas at the net, you're gonna be facing some kind of speed lot follow up, even if there's a Corsair. So just getting that. And when I say speed lot follow up, I'm talking about 3, 4, 5 gateways. So getting that scout on the net gas is pretty important. You can see that cRoSs never went into the main. He's using the +1 timing and the second gas as his information to confirm that this is a normal build from BoA.
Man, look at the big brain on Seriosity. Man, one day I'll learn this crap, and I'll actually be successful in ZVP.
Alright, so we have the Stargate done. First stairs out, gonna get that full scout. We're seeing even more stairs, no +1 yet again. Citadel done, getting speed right away. Already got in 1 Overlord kill, this is actually pretty big. Second Overlord kill. No, actually that was the first Overlord kill. Oh, we have these ults moving in. This is an awkward timing for cRoSs to deal with this, because as you're droning up, you don't really want to make any more lings, and you're not going to have Hydras at this time.
He did have a decent number of Zerglings here, but they engaged all of the Zealots at like a weird angle, so they all were fighting kind of individual Zealots instead of concentrating fire on 1 or 2 of them. And as you can see, 3 Zealots have survived due to that fact, and now they're just going to chill and be annoying at this ramp.
Yeah, nice engagement from BoA. And now just forcing them, just keeping them here, forcing Zerg to react by making more Zerglings. I would have liked to see just 1 Hydra being produced to force these Zealots out of this very strong position.
Yeah.
But oh, even a sunken at the net, so this actually did more damage than I thought.
Oh my gosh. BoA's Zealot micro has been excellent all tournament.
Oh, he's turning on
Look It's so good, man. He even rotates his Zealots around the other Zerglings to make sure that they can't all be attacking at the same time. Very, very well controlled, man.
We have +1 finishing. Now BoA's build is a little bit awkward. Look at all his gas. This is because he committed to a 3rd and 4th gateway before the archives.
Ooh.
Be aggressive with these Zealots.
These Zealots are going to potentially... Okay, well, we at least force a big drone pool. But the Hydras have come up here to help out with this, so they're not going to get too much production out of it.
Yeah, BoA's follow-up to this is a 2nd Forge.
Dude, Cadenzi in the chat is just telling people all kinds of wild lies. I just look over at the chat, just telling the chat one of them is Jadong's cousin, and that we don't have anyone telling anyone who the players are. This girl, I swear, man. She's a master internet user. Alrighty, well, massive attack here. These Hydras getting a little bit caught up on the wall, but overall, I mean, I'm very surprised we haven't gone in on the cannons yet, as they are.
Yeah, if cRoSs knew, look at the storm timing. This is extremely late. Normally, storm is done at least a minute before this.
Even still, though, if we can just get a cancel on the armor here, that'd be really, really good.
Alright, storm is about to finish. cRoSs is committing.
Oh, here we go. You guys can even see it.
Alright, storm is 99% done. It just finishes, so I think BoA is gonna be able to defend this, but he is gonna get.
He does lose the armor. Oh my gosh! Oh, I thought cRoSs was going in there for a second.
I mean, nice victory there for cRoSs, and during this time he actually droned up so much. He went from 29 drones, it looked like, to 43, so spending several his lava just on drones, and now he's going to transition into mutas. I just saw a lot of his gas going down, and he doesn't have lurkers, so yep, look at these eggs, they have mutas. Forgot one thing, Doc. Let's look at the top left. We have 10 mutas.
Yeah, I see that. Dude,
Here I am clicking eggs like an idiot.
what are you, a peasant? He's doing the hard work. He's like, oh, what are these eggs? What is he making? Idiot. It just tells you. God, what are you, some kind of dumb guy? I can't believe
going up, and then we're gonna have a 4th base with the 7 hatch for cRoSs.
I think it's so funny. We like just discovered this yesterday, and like already it's like become an integral part of the casting experience. So easy to use, man. Holy cannoli, it's nice. Alrighty, well, I mean, we do have very little in the way of anti-air. These mutas are going to be extremely effective at potentially picking off the High Templar. We're going over the mineral line here, no cannons in place, and the Archon not going to be able to get back there. So very little ability to respond to this, wasting tons of storms. Of course, getting decent damage on the Mutalisk is still pretty good, but even so, look at that. We already have a morph. Like, come on, man. What are you supposed to do here? All the storms are now gone for this army. We got a raid here on the mineral line. Oh my gosh, so productive. cRoSs, you know, the Overlord has certainly served his purpose here. I always hate that when you get speed and then you're still using Overlords to micro anyways. Your Overlord gets there and just commits suicide instantly.
What I see a lot of high-level players, I mean, you could just spend all your actions to recycle your Overlords, or you could just trap a Ling behind your main mineral line and then plug it with another one.
I think the best way to do it is with a Lurker if you've got Lurker tech. You could also use a Larva. There's lots of ways of doing it.
The Larva is good until you spend it, and then all of a sudden... We're getting even more pro kills here, and we're diving in.
Oh, Templar now. Oh, and there's one more. Oh my god, these mutas have just done insane work here. Wow.
No,
so much.
Behind this, cRoSs is most likely gonna follow us up with a ton of Hydras, knowing that there's very little amount of storm left in the storming. If you just produce enough Hydras to overwhelm Protoss, he'll be... Whoa, we got cRoSs BoA kill one of his Dragoons.
I see that. He saw cRoSs kill his own Mutalisk with the Scourge, so he's just like, he's trying to copy his idol.
Alright, we have Lurkers almost done. +2, about 90% done, and Protoss, unfortunately, losing that Forge at the front means that while he does have weapons 2 on his army, he did lose that critical 1 armor. The armor is actually very impactful against dealing with Hydras. The same way that +1 is helpful for Hydras, so is +1 armor for Protoss.
Alrighty, well, these Hydralisks running around the map to make sure that there's no hidden bases or anything going down like that. I really, really love seeing this in the final game of the series. Just being super sure that he's not going to be losing out on any kind of silly play. Now the the Mutalisks once again coming in here, having their numbers being refreshed and their HP regenning. Lots of opportunity. We're continuing to just snipe off tons of High Templar, one-shotting them left and right here. More High Templar are about to go down. Are the mutas gonna? Are they bold? Are they bold enough? Are they going in? They're gonna finish off these.
They're all very weak mutas.
Oh! And he gets one more.
He somehow got that farther High Templar with the muta splash.
With a bounce, yeah.
And then we killed the remaining. Well, actually, there's one left, but we killed another High Templar by targeting it.
Yeah. Very extremely powerful use of these Mutalisks. Gateway armies without High Templar, very, very bad against Hydralisks overall. Hydras just have the tendency to outnumber them, and they're such powerful core units. They're not like overstated units by any means. You know, Hydralisks aren't just like stupidly overpowered on the numbers, but just how expensive they are, and how how little supply they take, and how many you can make all at once. Very, very strong. Yeah, as our balloon donor says, no storm, never win. That's exactly the case, I think, that's going on over here. Especially now that I hear a Lurker somewhere.
We have a Lurker at the 3rd. It hasn't really done much, but it did kill a cannon that was morphing.
Oh, that's super annoying. Alrighty, big attack coming in here. Mass numbers of Hydralisks here, and the storms are nowhere in sight. First storm goes down now that the army has essentially been dead. Okay, and we're dodging storms really well as well, so these Hydros have been trading excellently. Wow, huge storm though. Cleans up a massive number of Hydros here. This is probably going to be enough damage to secure this third, with the reinforcement wave coming here from the natural expansion. But still, look at the position that cRoSs has been able to secure on the high ground. There's going to be no big 2.5 base push. That big normal Protoss attack that you usually see in the mid game, where they come out with a huge army, that's not going to happen. cRoSs is going to continue to maintain map control, going to be able to continue to expand, put up tons of macro hatcheries, and just really get a huge late game army put together for him. Now, the one thing is that cRoSs really has shown the propensity to just stay on Hydralisk literally forever, and we're continuing to see that. Where are the lurkers? Where is the hive tech? Where is anything that is going to allow him to extend his longevity in this game? None of those things are quite on the way yet. So if we look at the Hydralisk upgrades, they're fairly well upgraded, but even still, you really want to have those cracklings. You want to have those defilers. You want to have even potentially Ultralisks if you're going to have a huge economic lead. Those are pretty good as well to add in a couple on the front of the army. Just some hive tech would be huge for the efficacy of this army going to the late game here.
This does look a little bit like last game, but one key difference is that BoA in the last game had two upgrades at this time. And he only has 3 weapons, no armor. The armor is actually more impactful against the Hydralisks.
The mutas once again clean up all the High Templar. Very nicely done. Little expensive, 600 for two High Templar. But, when you got all that money,
Alright, GT at top left. Missed this. Looks like it's going to clean up this middle line. This is actually massive. So, cRoSs' economy, which is booming, is now back to 3 base. And BoA is slowly coming back into this game. GT gets
it's literally still going.
8 kills. Holy crap.
Oh, he finally hits the hatchery now.
Oh, now this game looks completely different. Will look like any pretty convincing advantage for cRoSs is now looking like BoA can come back.
Oh my gosh, the Mutalisk again though! It's literally just Dragoon Zealot, man! Could you imagine if we had Hive Tech? Why does Hive Tech so... Why does cRoSs hate Hive Tech?
It isn't a big investment, and you can do it when you're going for this Hydra Lurker mid-game. You really want to do it when the game slows down, when BoA is not attacking, because it does cost a lot. But it just seems like he overstays the...
Yeah, on the big Hydra mid-game.
I mean, now it makes sense because he did just lose 18 drones, so... But he had plenty of opportunities to go high.
Alrighty, cRoSs doing the smart thing, going for those conservative little engagements. He knows that the storms are still very low, and so as long as he kind of takes a slower fight here, the storms will not get the opportunity to have one of those big, very powerful, like 8 Hydralisk storms coming in here. And so, as you can see, once again, Protoss has been put on the back foot, and this is probably where he wants to be having the Protoss as a, I mean, if we push him across this bridge, we can even lurker contain him, as we do have a full wall here up there. Not a very large number of attack paths for BoA to take advantage of.
In that engagement, BoA actually lost all of his zealots instantly. There weren't even that many lurkers, and then what was left over after the storms was only dragoons.
Yeah. And
with the good arc that cRoSs had positioned, he was just able to minimize storm damage and then win the fight pretty convincingly, actually. I think he was down like 40 supply, and then at the end of the fight, he was up 10.
Alrighty. If reinforcements come over here and we get a lurker set up out here inside this bridge, it's going to be extremely difficult for BoA to do anything for the rest of the game here. cRoSs will be able to take any bases he wants, go for any tech he wants, do pretty much everything he could possibly want here. And look at this. We have very little reinforcing coming over here. 2 storms still in the tank for the reinforcing High Templar here, but very, very little in comparison. Look at the production of cRoSs. Look how many Hydrals are coming across the map here to just help set this up. BoA, in the meantime, desperately trying to set up a 4th base. He does know that he is going to be on essentially 1 base economy. His main is completely mined out. Natural looking very, very depleted as well.
Excellent sword dodging from cRoSs in that engagement.
Yeah.
Now we're again just being forced back into our bridge.
Just a stupid amount of Hydralisks have survived here now, and now that there's no AoE to help with this, there is very little that BoA can do other than just sit in his natural expansion and slowly die.
1 DT at the net. Probably gonna hold this off for now, but just being in a position where you have a lurker contained and you're stuck on 3 bases is pretty tiresome for us. You're only on 1 base at this point, and if you look, the main gas is depleted. The net is going to be soon. No minerals left at the net or main, so you really has to get something done. I mean, the DT is still alive. Yeah, 4 kills, and it's getting even more now.
Yeah, we do have an Overlord here, though. Finally.
It just dies.
In the meantime, though, the 4th has been also cleaned up by cRoSs here, so no opportunity to go for another base for a little bit. And now we're literally just picking off High Templar in the face of these low-damage Dragoons. Oh my god! The High Templars go for an Archon, and just at the very last second, he gets his head shot off by a couple of spines there, and no Archon for BoA.
Right, so cRoSs still... I mean, that DT did do so much damage that he hasn't been able to recover. He has committed into mostly units during this entire time, and he forced BoA back into his side of the bridge.
Oh my gosh, but look at these plays, though. The storm is just not enough here. cRoSs continuing to dodge like a champ here, and now that we have no more AoE, once again, we have just piles and piles of Hydralisks dealing with essentially, you know, just basic gateway units. Once again, we have a DT, though, and no Overlord in sight, so how long this is going to continue to work, nobody knows, but alrighty, cool.
Right, we have finally an Overlord coming in.
But look at DT now back out on the map, going to try and find himself a base to go ahead and get himself, you know, 18 kills once again. Ooh.
Another High Templar pickoff.
Good storm, though. Does a good amount of damage to the Hydralisks here. These guys are going to get pushed back for a while. Once again, the DT goes to the top left-hand corner. Unfortunately for him, there's actually still Hydralisks and Overlords in place over there. And here we go.
Moving the Hydras away. Now
we got a real army. Got some Lurkers. We got some Hydra boys. We got a real army here at the natural expansion. Look at... Oh my god, the DT is still doing work! What is happening?
Another 8 kills on this DT. Cleans up the mineral line again, but it might just be too little too late. He's still only on the 1 base, and his army has lost yet another fight.
Yeah. cRoSs realizing, you know what though, there's a base down here and I haven't attacked it one time. The army's over here in the natural. Why don't I just go kill it? Yeah, so this base is at the mercy of cRoSs' Hydralisks now.
And there we go. With no way to defend this base, and no way to break out from the soft lurker contain. We have BoA on his last breath, basically. cRoSs never went high, but he did upgrade his Hydra as well. And I think the big moment in this game was killing off that Forge, and then that that attack that BoA went into, having an arc with lurkers set up. Even after killing those 18 drones, it still seemed like it was way. I mean, it seemed like it was way in BoA's favor, but as soon as that fight was over, it just flipped.
Dude, these DTs. Alrighty, well, it had to end eventually, and BoA put up a really good fight, man. Really good. But unfortunately, the very last American player has been eliminated from the tournament, and Canada is all that's left. All right, guys. So we're gonna have to change the tournament name to the Canada Starleague. So thank you all so much for tuning in to the NASL. But that one's over. Just Canada locals now, boys and girls. So. But it is a little unfair, as this is the North American Star League, and all the Canadian players are by default much more North American than the United States players. You know, just a bit of an unfair advantage, so we had that going against us. But yeah, man, really great games all day. Very, very good games from everybody. We went to ace matches, both sets. So I'm looking forward to casting for you guys next weekend once again. Thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been really, really quite a great round of 8. And again, we will be back same time, same place next weekend. Is that correct?
Yep. Next weekend it's actually going to be only on Sunday because we're going to cast both semifinals on one day. Still best of 5, and it's going to be TT1 against cRoSs and Dragon against Gypsy.
Alrighty, guys. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. Thanks to our balloon donators rather, in the chat. We really appreciate the support there. Thanks to everybody who's been supporting us on Matcherino, doing the sponsor quests, making the donations, using the coupon codes. Everything has been really great. We've had some really great growth as far as the stream goes. We've been seeing like 50-ish. Average numbers, and we really appreciate you all tuning in for that as well. Please make sure to get out there and spread the word to all your friends. Make sure we get more people tuning in, because I know that there's plenty of StarCraft fans out there that aren't tuning in yet. So please get on your social medias, get on your Discords, bug your mother, whatever it takes, man, because we want all you guys to come and see what North America has to offer. That being said, thank you all again once again for tuning in. My name is Doc Holiday, and with me has been cRoSs. We've been casting the North American Star League, sponsored by Afreeca here, and this has been done with the efforts of the fantastic Titanis Del Ring crew. So thank your local Titanis Del Ring homies as well. The Rude Girl out there in the chat every day, always representing. We really appreciate it, guys. But that is going to be it for the weekend, and we will all see you tomorrow. Anything you want to say, cRoSs, before we log off?
Nope, I think you pretty much summed it up. Just see everyone again next Sunday, 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 Pacific. And that's it.
Yeah,
Thanks
guys. And just remember, never trust anything that Cadenzi says in the chat. It's all lies. Every single thing.
Si te gustó este video, no olvides darle like. Y si aún eres nuevo y aún no te suscribes, te invitamos a hacerlo y a darle clic a la campanita. Recuerda que todos los días viernes estaremos subiendo nuevas guías y nuevo material, todo en relación con Starcraft remasterizado. Hasta la próxima, amigos.